All right. Here's my 4 people.
Has anyone seen the movie The Proposal? In the movie, Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds get surprised and asked to have their wedding while visiting his parents. They only had days to plan their wedding, but what if you had the time to plan your perfect wedding? Where would you start and what steps would you follow to make sure everything went just the way you've always imagined? Today I'm going to talk to you about the 5 basic steps involved in planning a wedding. This information is helpful to know whether you are the one soon to get married or you have a family member or friend that you could pass the information along to. So it's important to pay attention. I have always wanted a wedding in fall. So when my husband proposed to me in August of 2005, it gave me just over a year to plan for a wedding in September of 2006. My parents gave me a budget to work with, and I did all the planning from choosing a date to picking out the hall, cake testing, I know it's a hard job but somebody's got to do it, and sending out the invitations. So you or your friend have just been proposed to. Where do you start? Well, step 1, you start with a date. You and your partner need to decide what month, day, and year you would like to plan your wedding for. This will give you a timeline of how you need to organize your planning. It is important as well in step 1 to set a budget for how much you are willing to spend. You can then break down all the areas where you are going to be spending your money and the amounts you will allow for each part of the wedding. When doing this, you can decide if there are certain things that are more important to you than others that you'd like to spend your money on, such as spending more on getting a nicer hall than on a really expensive dress. Everybody will have their own thoughts on what is more important to them. When thinking about a date for your wedding, you will also need to think about where you would like to get married and or have your reception. This is step 2. Some places will have waiting lists or already booked times. I have always wanted a Cinderella wedding, so when I found a castle to hold our reception, we had to go around their schedule. We've already had ideas of the times we liked, so we went in with a few dates, and whichever one was available would be the one we took. Along with booking the hall, you need to decide what type of decorations you will need. When picking out your perfect hall, don't be afraid to ask if what they have to offer. Will they provide tablecloths, dishes, cutlery, chair covers? These are all things you will need to think about back to your budget. If you pick a hall that does not offer these items, you would need to use more of your budget to buy or rent them from somewhere else. When picking your hall, also keep in mind the food. Do they provide food? Will it be served a buffet style? Will you have to get something catered in? These are all important questions to ask yourself. You would be surprised at the places that do not offer food, and you would also be surprised at the places that only offer their food, which means no catering from a place that you maybe already had in mind. Now that you've completed step 2 by deciding your date, hall, and food, we can move on to some of the more fun things to think about in step 3, such as music, flowers, cake, and pictures. Think to yourself, are any of these things more important to you than others? Do you want to spend more on the pictures and less on the cake? Doing this will give you an idea of a price range to work with when searching for your vendors. As far as music goes, my husband and I love to dance and have a good time, so we decided to go with a DJ. But maybe you would prefer a live band or a few instrumental players. Next, you will need to think about your flowers. Think back to your hall. Will you need flowers to decorate it, or do you only need flowers for your wedding party and church? You will also need to think about the colors of your wedding and provide that information to your florist. They will be helpful in letting you know what flowers are in season and which ones would maybe look best with the colors of your wedding. Do you have a favorite flower already in mind? Remember, this is your day. Ask as many questions as you need to feel comfortable. The next part is really fun. Finding the bakery to make your cake. I loved cake testing, and don't be afraid to test as many cakes as you have to make sure you get the best one, even if that means going to a bunch of different places just for testing. I felt like picking out my cake was one of the best parts when planning our wedding. What is your favorite cake? Mine's chocolate with buttercream frosting, but maybe you prefer a tiered one with different cake and frosting in each level. Another touch on your special day is your photographer. When looking for your photographer, make sure you look at their past work and you like the style of their pictures. Each photographer has a different style, so you need to make sure you enjoy what they bring to the table. Also ask them questions. Can we bring poses in that are important to us? Keep in mind that you are paying these people to make the most of your special day, And within reason, you should be able to have everything you've always dreamed of. Now that you have all the touches put together, we can move to step 4. What to do about the invitations. Will you make them yourself or have them made? I speak from experience. If you decide to make them yourself, make sure you have someone proofread them, please. Otherwise, you might be requesting the honor of their presence instead of the honor of their presence. Thank you for coming to our wedding. Yes, I actually did that. So I had to print out double the amount of invitations. Also, make sure you get together with your parents and decide on all the people that you should invite. You'd really regret it if for a split second you forgot about Uncle Bob and Aunt Mary and they missed the big day. You would probably never live that one down. At any time in your planning, you will need to ask your friends you'd like to be involved in your special day. But here we'll call it step 5. Whether you have a few close friends or an army of people for your bridal party, such as we did, these are the people you will look back at pictures and think they represented me that day. It's important to pick the people out that will help you and be there for you. Some of the responsibilities for the wedding will be on your wedding party. For girls, it's good for you to help the bride pick out her dress and bridesmaids' dresses. Remember, bridesmaids, it's the bride's special day, and if she decides she wants olive green to be her color, don't complain. You too will have your special day, and you can put her in any color you'd like to. Your bridal party will also help you with the plans for your bachelorette party and shower. So make sure you let your friends know the do's and don'ts of your party. Otherwise, you might get a stripper. All this planning will soon lead you to the day you've always dreamed of. But the last and final tip I want to talk to you about when planning your wedding is it may take a lot of time and effort, and trust me, it will be something you remember for the rest of your life, but don't expect everything to be perfect. Our cake was delicious, but it was lopsided on the table. We were late coming into the reception for dinner, and my dad got lost finding the hall. But those are all the things that I look back at and laugh. They really made our day special. If you take the time, all the little things in wedding planning add up to a much bigger and beautiful picture. Thank you.